Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. We're in Chapter 7, and specifically today we're talking about when the player characters have taken Dragonelles up to the Flying Citadel. They've infiltrated the Flying Citadel through the lower tunnels, right? And they arrive here, and there's this discussion within the book, within the D&D canon hardbacks, Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. The player characters are here. They're at the Flying Citadel. And you know, F. Wesley Snyder, man, he lays it out in this book. He's like, if the Flying Citadel reaches Calamon, it's done, right? It's just going to wreck Calamon. That's all there is to it. And one of the things, I love the lopsidedness of some of this. He's like, you know, you can't, and there is lopsidedness. Like, there's very hard and fast statements within the book. And it's like, and we're going to talk about a couple of them today, right? So one of them is if Flying Citadel, if this weapons platform created by the if this weapons platform created by specifically by the Red Dragon Army, right, reaches Calamon, it's finished, and Solamnia falls, right? And that's interesting because what happens then, right? What happens if the player characters are defeated, right? Well, one of the great things about Dungeons & Dragons is even in defeat, there's so many great options, right? They go to Eberron, right? They bring back an army of Warforged, right? Or they go to the Witchlight Circus and they get powerful magic there, right? You know, and or they just ride the rides while Solamnia burns, right? Like, you know, there's all, and that's the nice thing is, but they're like this. They're very clear. They're like, hey, listen, if the Flying Citadel reaches Calamon, is finished. That's all she wrote, folks. Right, done and done. Right, and it's a powerful. I really like F. Wesley Snyder like laying this out, and I'm also really excited too. Like, I was so incredible, you know, what my journey to Dungeons & Dragons, right? I was 12 years old and I got the red box, right? And it was incredible. It was, you know, it was life transforming, right? And I am incredibly excited about the idea of a 12-year-old, you know, boy or girl reading Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen for the first time, and just like their third eye opening, going, holy crap! Like, there's this, you know, this is an incredible world that I can bring for my friends, and they can live in this second world, and each one of them is going to get another identity, right? They're no longer going to be trapped in a singular identity, right? All my friends are going to get a new identity, and I'm going to get 100 new identities. That, you know, I'm going to manifest myself into all these non-player characters here, right? And also, like, them being like, and then them running through Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which is an amazing D&D canon hardback, and then reaching the other side and saying, oh man, I'm going to write my own world. You know, I'm going to create my own world. And it's you know, here we are 5 decades later, right? 2 attempts to destroy Dungeons & Dragons forever. One by the 1980s American evangelicals, and one by the 2023 OGLers, OSRs, and orcs, right? Like, to destroy Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons continues, and it transforms lives today, right? You know, it transformed, my life was transformed in 1982, right, when I ran the Red Box, right? It was incredible, and I'm just so excited that in 2023 there could be, you know, some, you know, 12-year-old boy or girl who gets this got this as a Christmas gift last year, and their life is forever changed, right? And they're not going to be trapped in one identity like the rest of the sad sack humans on this planet, right? And, you know, and I just pity people who live without Dungeons & Dragons. I can't imagine a life without it, you know, like, at this point, because of everything I've seen that it can do, right? So with all that said, so basically, so the player characters reach the Flying Citadel, and the book has this open discussion and says there are 3 goals for the player characters now that they've reached this point, right? They can attempt to unseat Lord Soth, right? And then they can discover elven magic, specifically the mirror of remembered pasts, right? And then finally they can attempt to destroy the Citadel, right? But then it says, hey, I know that was cute that we said there were 3 goals. There's actually only 1, right? And so it's saying, 1, if they attempt to defeat Lord Soth, the player characters are gonna lose. Lord Soth is gonna have to hand each one of them their butt and put them 6 feet under, right? The book is very clear about it, right? And then it's like, also, if they try to destroy the Citadel, that ain't gonna happen as long as Lord Soth is alive. And we already told you Lord Soth is gonna remain alive. He's gonna kill every single one of your player characters, right? So the only thing they can do is they can discover elven magic, right? What happens if they discover elven magic? If they find the mirror of past remembrances on the flying citadel, right, then they can paralyze Lord Soth. And while he's paralyzed, they can destroy the flying citadel, right? And also, if they're paralyzed, there's a possibility they can do something to unseat Lord Soth. It doesn't even say defeat him, right? Because 1, he's undead, right? Like, how do you kill an undead? It ain't easy, right? You know, like, so I absolutely, and so basically the book is very, like, I don't think it's railroading. I think what you're seeing is they're saying this is honoring Gary Gygax's 3 gates, right? So Gary said that there's 3 aspects of the gate, right? And Gary pointed this out and kind of illustrated it. And then Mike Merles in 2014 absolutely framed it, right? Like, Gary painted the picture and Mike Merles framed it and set it on the wall. Because before it was kind of rolled up and it was, you know, like you could take it out and look at it, but it wasn't a central part of D&D. But now it is. Combat, interaction, exploration, right? And this Discover Elven Magic is saying the only way you beat this is with, you beat it with is specifically you defeat Lord Soth specifically by exploring and getting a way to paralyze him. Like, you have to paralyze him. You can't defeat him. You have to stop him. You have to stop him in his tracks. That'll give you a chance to do something with him, like removing him, or, you know, from the realm you're on. There isn't even discussion in the book of really killing Lord Soth, right? And then it's also saying, well, you know, if you paralyze him, then you can actually destroy the Citadel. And then how do you destroy the Citadel? That's another one, right? The Citadel, and they're like, the way you actually destroy the Citadel is you simply douse these cataclysm flames, because the flying Citadel is able to fly because, and this goes back to the mechanical lore, right? We talked about this with Kiana Shaw. Kiana Shaw is a tabletop role-playing game designer that talks about mechanical lore, right? Lore that really matters, right? And this is mechanical lore. It's really fantastic. So what is mechanical lore? Well, it says, you know, basically when the cataclysm happened, Lord Soth got some of the cataclysm flames, literally the flames that, you know, that leapt up to destroy huge portions of Kryn, right? He took that cataclysm flame and he put it into a brazier in the bastion of Takesis, right? And that cataclysm flame is what is resonating magic into the dragon bones that are actually lifting the bastion of Takesis, right? And that's why it flew and, like, the threshold of the heavens didn't, right? And so this is really involved, and it's saying, you know, and so basically the only way to win, to defeat the flying citadel, you can't even really defeat Lord Soth. You're going to defeat the flying citadel, and the way you're going to do it is you are specifically going to douse the cataclysm flames, and that will make the falling city, the flying citadel, plunge to the ground, right? Same way, and so essentially lost the city had to be, the only way to defeat it was to bring it down, and they're saying the flying citadel is the same. You have to bring it down, and the only way to do that is to paralyze Lord Soth for long enough to douse the cataclysm flames, and then he will not be able to lift the flying citadel, right? So it is, and I actually, again, this is just absolutely masterful one of the best D&D canon hardbacks, and certainly one of the best settings that has been brought forward in a long time in Dungeons and Dragons. I would say it's really the best setting we've gotten since Exandria. It is phenomenal, right? Thank you very much for letting me share this portion, my discussion of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Every word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.